In today's episode, we'll hear from Ally Sieff, personal trainer and trail runner who started just a year ago and has experienced the ups, downs, and the lessons of being a beginner firsthand. Ally shares the biggest surprises and challenges from her first year of trail running, discusses what worked and what didn't in her journey, and explains how trail running has changed her mindset and approach to the sport. If you're just starting out, this episode will give you plenty of practical advice and relatable stories. If you're new to trail running, this real-life beginner's perspective will inspire and guide you. Ally, welcome to the Trail Chasers.
Thank you.
How are you feeling?
A little bit nervous, but excited to be here.
Okay. And compared to your first trail run, how does this feel?
It's a very different feeling. Loads of butterflies, but I guess I did feel those before my trail run as well. I don't know, it's different.
The first thing I want to know, your first trail race, how was it on the start line? You know, what was the feeling? What was the experience like?
Does a 5 kilometer in Kirstenbosch count?
100%.
Okay. I was very excited. I think I signed up for that on a complete whim. I think you told me to sign up for that possibly.
The night run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A few weeks into, I guess, my trail running journey, and I was really nervous, even though it was just 5 kilometers through Kirstenbosch. But it was really cool to see so many different kinds of people lining up and just going out for it. And yeah, it was a really good vibe, and I was excited and I had a lot of fun and it was cool.
That's most important. So this season is sponsored by Gilnockie Socks. I'm going to show you a picture here. This is the sock. And what I'm going to do, I'm not going to put you on the spot now, but at the end of the episode, I'm going to ask you what 2 words you'd want on the back of your sock. Obviously, it's for the person that's following you more than for you. But have a think about it and we'll discuss it at the end of the episode.
Okay.
You know, what are the kind of 5, no, it doesn't have to be 5, but what are the kind of most pivotal moments in your life that have led you to trail running?
In my life, there is one very specific moment that I guess started it all, and that was a multi-day hiking trail. It was the Sitzikama hiking trail, and I did that in 2023 in December, so just before I started trail running. And if I'm being completely honest, I didn't even know trail running was a thing before. And when I was on the trail, I was with some of my cousins who are trail runners, and they mentioned that they've done the hiking trail as more of a trail run. And I thought that was crazy.
Yeah.
I thought, how in the world can someone run this? I didn't even know people ran on the mountain. And I think that is what made me start thinking about it and eventually led me to go for my first run on the mountain. Well, attempted run. It was more of a walk, but trail walk run. I don't think there are really any other moments in my life that led to it. I've always been into strength training more than running. I've never enjoyed endurance activities until now. So I guess that was the main thing.
And, you know, if you think of the journey over the last year and you think of like a business card, what would it say under your name?
A business card? Well, I suppose strength and conditioning coach, which is what I am. And I suppose now that I have become a trail runner of sorts, it would maybe also add content creator and trail runner.
Amazing. And you know, after you did that multi-day hike, what happened after that?
Well, I mentioned it to my boyfriend that I would like to give a trail run a chance, and he said he'll come with me. And at that point, we didn't know anything about it. Someone told us to go try the Lion's Loop. I didn't even know exactly how to get there or what it was, even though I live here.
Yeah.
I hadn't even walked the lower Lion's Loop. So we were told to drive up to, I think, Arcadia Road, and we parked there, and I tried to run, but it lasted about 2 minutes before I was too tired and started walking. And we figured out how to connect back onto the mountain. You go onto the road and then continue the Lion's Loop. And that was it. More of a walk than a run, but it was fun.
Yeah.
And that's how, it started.
And what was it that that was like, what was that about that run that you were like, I need to carry this on, rather than this is terrible, I'm going home and never doing this again?
I realized how difficult it is and how unfit I actually was, because before that, I wasn't into road running either. Role was at, and I think it made me realize that I'm actually quite unfit, even though I'm a trainer, I'm a coach, I work in a gym, I do a lot of strength training, I'm strong, but I'm not fit. And I wanted to get fit, and I wanted to be able to go out and be on the mountain and just enjoy it and not feel like I'm dying.
Yeah.
So that's why.
And what were your kind of biggest fears before you started? Or was it just you didn't even know about it?
There were no fears right before, but I think once I got into it and I started understanding more about trail running, my fears were not keeping up with people, which I've experienced lots of. And obviously the safety on the mountains is always a concern. And I think I learned more about that as I got into it.
And did you have any kind of expectations before you did your first one?
Not that I can remember.
Yeah. And, the first year, has that surprised you? Has that after that first trail run, what were the kind of expectations then? And have you kind of surprised yourself?
I guess so. I mean, I can definitely get onto the mountain a lot more comfortably. Met a lot of amazing people. So yeah, I guess.
And, in terms of like the training aspect of it, what kind of happened, after that first run? Were you like, I'm just going to run? Or was it like, I need to actually start training for this thing?
No, I just wanted to run a little bit more, get my fitness up a bit. So I think I also realized that I couldn't just go onto the mountain by myself. I knew safety was a problem. So I quite quickly saw how incredible trail running is and fell in love with it. And to build that fitness, I decided to start running on the road because that was how I was going to get a bit fitter for it. So I suppose road runs became a part of my routine, which I hated for a long time. Now I'm actually kind of enjoying them because they're a bit easier, but didn't enjoy it. But the reason I kept going was to build up a base for trail running and be able to join the groups and feel okay.
What other challenges did you face in those kind of early days of trail running?
Falling.
Yeah.
A lot of falling.
Okay.
Rolling my ankles, tripping, just really unstable. I think it took me quite a while to just get better at that.
Yeah.
I would always tell people, it's like, I can't go on a run and not at least twist my ankle once.
Yeah.
And now that's not as much of the case, still happens, but that was probably one of my biggest challenges, like that, and then obviously the fitness space, which took me a long time to build.
Yeah.
Still building it.
And, obviously we talk about building the fitness, but how did you kind of build that confidence or that mental, the kind of mental side of it to feel comfortable on the trail?
I'm not sure I ever really did build much of a confidence factor. I think I still feel quite nervous often getting onto the mountain and joining groups because I know I'm not as fit as many people I run with. But I think seeing what the opportunities were and looking at the potential of it and how amazing it is, and even just following people on social media and seeing them go out for these long runs in the mountains, that kind of kept me going even when it was really hard. Just because I wanted to get to that point as well. Yeah.
And is there a frustration that you're not kind of getting there quicker?
Yeah, I suppose. For a long time, I did feel really frustrated. I think I have accepted my journey now at this point, and I have realized that I'm not necessarily a natural runner.
I think one of the big challenges about trail running, I mean, even now, is the factor of kind of getting lost. What was the feeling around that, and kind of what happened? Are you kind of a panicker? Are you kind of a calm, collector type of person? Has it changed?
Definitely changed. I think the way I would respond to getting lost would definitely depend on who I'm with. If I'm with another newbie or someone who's just as unsure as I am, there would probably be a bit of a panic. I now have a watch that is able to connect to navigation and tell me where I am, so I would know a bit more how to find my way back to the right trail. In the beginning, probably would have just panicked. Now I would it also depends where I am, on which mountain. Like some spots are safer than others. So if it was potentially a more dangerous location, I think I would definitely panic.
Has the watch given you kind of more confidence to explore further?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's go back to the kind of the frustration of not, getting faster or being able to keep up with. How did you kind of accept that you were kind of on your own journey and just be happy in that kind of space?
It honestly took a long time. I think for a long time I was very frustrated by the feeling of not getting stronger, although realistically I was getting stronger. Every month was a little bit better, but it's hard to realize that in the moment. And I guess I've just accepted that everyone's journeys are individual. I now am at the stage where I would rather do a weekend run that's going to benefit me than just going out to try keep up with everyone and be with the group and do what all my friends are doing, because that can be counterproductive. And I guess it just took time. It's just been a process.
Yeah, I love that you're at that stage. It's such an important stage because, you do get carried away with the group culture, and then you do realize that it is, you're just burning yourself out for no reason.
Yeah.
What is the one thing you wish someone told you before you started?
Ooh, maybe that it's okay to be slower than the rest, and that it actually is really hard. I don't think anyone really told me how difficult it is and how long it can take to build up not just the fitness, but also the skills of running on the mountain. The people I ran with, well, a lot of them were just really good trail runners, either naturally or they'd been doing it for years. And so what I saw was people flying on these trails and making it look really easy. And that made me question, what is wrong with me? Why can't I run like they can? Yeah, I think if I was to tell someone else, I would say it's okay. It takes time.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily natural for everyone.
What role did social media play in that, that kind of expectation?
I think social media is a highlight reel, and while it was amazing to see people having so much fun on the mountain and running and looking incredible, it wasn't always what I needed to see, because I didn't see a lot of the struggle and the other side of it. Or you'd see a lot of professionals or people who just look really good when they run. And I experienced a completely different side. So again, it made me feel a bit confused and like, why can't I do this?
Yeah. And what's kind of been your proudest moment so far in the last year?
Probably completing my first bigger trail race, which was the Puffy. That was a big moment for me. I think looking back at last year, that was probably the peak of my fitness. Went a little bit downhill after that with an injury, and now I'm finally kind of getting back to that point. So I'm excited to take on some more challenges this year.
Yeah. You had the injury before Puffy though?
No, I was good going into Puffy.
Yeah.
It was after that. It was before UTCT.
Oh yes, that's the
So
one.
yeah, did Puffy, felt great, was so excited, got into the next training block and then rolled my ankle quite badly. I didn't want to acknowledge how bad the injury was, so I kind of kept running on it. Didn't go to the physio, didn't accept it, and just made it 10 times worse. And because of that, put myself out for the next one and just had to take a step back.
Yeah, I think that's an important lesson that we all kind of learn.
Yeah, big lesson for me.
And, what is the kind of most surprising thing you've learned about trail running, but also you've learned kind of about yourself?
Ooh, about myself, probably that I am stronger than I think. I think people always say that a lot of it is a big mental game, and I've always struggled with the mental side of it. As soon as I feel tired or I feel pain, I want to just stop and walk. And through my trail running journey, I think I've learned to embrace that and try push through and dig a little deeper. And it took me a while, but I think I managed to prove to myself that I am capable of it, and I'm still trying to get out of my head a little bit more. Surprising thing about trail running was at the base, I think the community, I didn't realize how big and incredible the trail running community is, and how many people there are to encourage and support and talk to.
Yeah. Did you ever think you would be someone who runs up mountains for fun?
No, I didn't even know it was a thing.
And, you know, I think a lot of discussion comes around, you know, the gear and what's important and what's not, and, you know, what's kind of superficial. So what was the biggest thing you learned about gear and kind of the essential?
I think for me, having the right pair of shoes was really important to help me feel secure and stable. Like I said, struggled a lot with the instability of my feet and rolling my ankles. And once I got a better pair of shoes, I think that made a difference. And running with a pack, also just to carry everything. I used to feel quite self-conscious running with a pack because a lot of people don't, or I guess some people are able to manage with less water or their phone just in a belt, and I found that the pack really helped me. Also, it's just don't like holding things and like having something bounce on my waist. So I suppose that with regards to gear was the biggest thing for me.
Yeah. And in terms of shoes, how did you kind of get the right shoes? Did you go to a shoe shop? How was that process for you?
I got a pair of shoes for the hiking trail I had done before, and I just used those. I can't even remember what kind of shoe they were, but they were a very entry-level trail running shoe, and I was using those and eventually realized I probably needed to upgrade, which is when I went to the running store, got my feet checked, got some advice, and I got my first pair of ASICS shoes, and I've loved them ever since.
Yeah. Maybe we should talk about the ASICS FrontRunners program. So tell me about how did you know, what kind of pushed you to apply? How did that whole process work? And what are the feelings like once you were announced as one of the frontrunners?
I had been following a few of the ASICS FrontRunners since the beginning of my journey, just because I think they popped up on my page, and I soon learned what the ASICS FrontRunner program is, and I thought it was incredible. And then I suppose towards the end of the year, I saw the applications come, and I was unsure if I should or shouldn't apply. I thought it was quite out of my depth to even apply. Like, who do I think I am posting this reel and putting myself out there? But seeing what they were about and following the frontrunners from the year before and seeing the adventures they went on and the community that was surrounded with it, I thought I may as well just give it a shot.
Yeah.
And lots of imposter syndrome, lots of feelings of being unsure, but very exciting, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity.
Yeah. What was it like, you know, when you first found out?
I guess I was in disbelief.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure what to think, because we were initially sent an email to say that we'd been, I think, shortlisted, and we had a video call, and I didn't want to get my hopes up because at this point I knew it wasn't a guarantee. So I just tried to stay calm and got through the process. And then, a lot of imposter syndrome, like I said before, but just otherwise major excitement.
Yeah. And how's it been so far?
It's been really cool. Everyone is amazing. I think I've met a few of them. There's still quite a few other members that I need to meet. But everyone has just been so supportive. Joining the group and meeting the old frontrunners has also been amazing. And everyone is just really encouraging and supportive and kind. And I'm very excited for the journey ahead to see what comes from it.
Yeah. What do you think it will do for your running?
Well, there's a whole nother level of motivation, I suppose, to live up to, I guess, what it is all about, even though they didn't pick me because I'm a good runner, because I'm not. It still is, it feels good to know that there is some kind of support behind you. And of course, I mean, having more shoes and different shoes to wear is a game changer. But there's a lot of excitement around running, is even more so than there was before because of it.
Yeah, amazing. And you obviously started running in summer, and I remember this, you were like, I'm never running in the rain. I'm going to wait for next summer. So how's that process been, running in the rain? Have you kind of embraced it? What have you kind of learned about it?
Yeah, it's so true. I remember thinking that I'm going to give running a break through winter, and I'll pick it up in summer again. And I guess once I got to winter, I didn't really want to stop because I'd gotten into a good routine, and I had my first kind of colder run, a little bit of rain. I was like, okay, it's not too bad. And then I remember going out for a trail run with a group of friends, and it just started bucketing.
Yeah.
We were soaked through for like an hour, and it was tough. And I remember my shoes getting filled with water. My dad had given me a pair of his waterproof socks, which I wouldn't recommend now because they got caught in the socks.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. It was a disaster, but it was uncomfortable, but it was also exhilarating, and it felt like a big accomplishment. And then, seeing all the waterfalls on the mountains, that's just amazing. So it was cool. I'm looking forward to this winter, actually.
Amazing. And we did touch on that first race, the Puffy, the experience of it from kind of entering. What was the thought process on entering the race? Was it I'm going to enter and train, or was it, what was the thinking behind it?
Yeah, I initially entered it just to have something to work toward. It did feel quite far away, and I'd only done maybe 10 kilometers up until that point, and the Puffy is 20. And so I got a coach, and I thought, now I'm going to really put the work in and work towards something. And I did, and I loved it.
And, overall, kind of looking back at that experience, what was the highlights? What was the, the key kind of takeaways from it? Did it meet those expectations?
Yes, it definitely did. I really enjoyed the training runs for it. I joined Mr. O's group trail runs, and I met some really cool people. And I guess I tapped into another part of trail running where you endure a little bit more. You push more, you have to start focusing on the nutrition side of things because you're out there for longer. And it was really cool. I enjoyed the experience of building up to it and then actually doing it and completing it.
Yeah. And what was it like crossing the finish line?
Amazing. Such a good feeling. It's such an accomplishment to cross any finish line, but this was my first big one. Never done a half marathon on the road or any road race. And the other ones I had done on the mountain were much smaller. So this one felt like a really big deal for me.
Yeah. And has there been a point yet where you're like, okay, I'm now a trail runner, or has that not come yet?
Oh, it's so hard. I don't like to label myself as a trail runner. It feels, it feels wrong in a way that I think it's just because I'm not the best runner that I wouldn't tell someone I'm a trail runner. I would tell them I'm Ally, I'm a strength and conditioning coach. I like to run. I wouldn't necessarily say I am a trail runner, even though I suppose I am. But that's just, again, the imposter syndrome and holding myself back, I think.
Yeah. And what do you think will make you say I'm a trail runner?
Gosh, I don't know.
When you're doing your first 100-miler. And, particularly in your journey, I guess, overall, and maybe even going back to the kind of the Puffy race, has there ever been a moment where you kind of wanted to give up? And how did you kind of push through that?
Yeah, I think in one of the training runs, well, not really a training run, it was just a big group run that I decided to join. I didn't realize how strong the group of runners were that I decided to join, and I just got completely dropped. And that was a tough moment for me because I felt like I wasn't good enough and what's the point? I can't even keep up with my friends. So that was definitely a moment where I felt like I wanted to give up. But I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah. And during that race, were there any kind of moments of doubt?
No, I loved the race.
Okay.
I just had fun with that one because I didn't put a pressure on it. I said, I'm going to finish at whatever time of the day I finish. Doesn't matter how long it takes me. I just want to keep going and get over the finish line feeling strong without any injuries, without too much pain. And I did that. So that's all I wanted.
Yeah. And for someone that's just starting out trail running, What's the one piece of advice you would give to them?
Well, if they already have a road running base or some kind of fitness base, I would say join a trail running group. There are so many. We are so spoiled for choice. I'm sure there's one every single weekday evening. So you have your pick, and I'd say choose one of them, join them. You've got a group to run with. It's safe. There's generally pace groups, so you'll be all right. But if it's someone who wants to start trail running from scratch, as in they haven't even done a road run, I would say try run on the prom first or on the road, because once you have that aerobic base, it is a lot easier to just keep going and not feel like you are dying with every step. And I think that's something I wish I had done myself, is build up a road base before I just try to go onto the mountain, because it's safer, it's easier, and then you can do it in your own time.
And we chatted a bit about the mental side of it, but what's kind of going through your mind when you're doing long runs, and how do you kind of keep that focused?
Just get to the end, get to my almond croissant and keep going.
And, when you kind of look at the goals, coming into trail running, you obviously didn't have any expectation. Once you kind of did that first run, were there kind of goals that you kind of set for yourself? And did you feel like you achieved them?
So the very first run, I think my goal was to join Chicxulub Trail. I'd heard about them. And my cousin who told me about trail running actually told me about that group before I had even given it a chance. But I was really nervous to join them in case I couldn't keep up. And then I was alone on the mountain. So yeah, my goal after that very first run was to build up some kind of fitness base to be able to go and do my first group trail run. And yeah, I did that. So I was happy about that.
Yeah. And you mentioned a few times that kind of getting dropped feeling. What was that like for the first time, and how have you kind of learned to kind of deal with that?
It was hard, and seeing how many people are fitter than you and better than you can be really discouraging and overwhelming. I can't even remember the first official trail run I did, because I think I was with someone when I was dropped. So it wasn't really like I was dropped because I was with them. But I do remember the first one that I was dropped and I was completely alone. And then people waited for me, but it felt like a bit of a walk of shame catching up to them.
How do you kind of, I guess, figure that out in terms of, as you said, like the group runs are so amazing, but there is obviously this fear of you're not going to be able to keep up, or you're not going to be as strong, and then you're not as strong, and you have those kind of feelings. So how do you kind of balance that good and bad, nervous and kind of amazing feeling?
I think it always helps going with a friend who you know is going to stick with you regardless. I always feel quite anxious going alone to a group unless someone has said like, oh, it's fine, I'll stick with you, because it's obviously unsafe to get dropped and be alone on the mountain if no one really knows where you are. Even if you know the way, I mean, anything can happen. So I suppose it would be going with a friend unless I know I can keep up. Or I know the route and I know it's safe and I know there'll be other people around.
Yeah.
Then I don't mind being alone. I actually quite love being alone. Yeah. I wish I could do more of it.
Is that something you've learned, or is that, so talk to me about the kind of the experience of being, by yourself in the mountains and the fears before and how that's kind of changed.
I've definitely learned to love it. I think it allows you to just have your me time. It definitely took time though. I never wanted to be alone until I was, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like just stopping and looking around and being in nature and experiencing everything that the mountain has to offer all by yourself. There's something really special about that. So I guess it was a journey to get to that, and I couldn't realize how wonderful it was until I was alone. So every now and then I'll go up Platteklip by myself because I know there will be people. And even if there's other people around, just not having anyone to talk to and being by yourself is quite nice.
Yeah. And, we've chatted a bit about the safety element. What have you kind of learned about that? And, What are the kind of important things that you would like to get across to kind of someone starting out running?
Well, I would never go onto the mountain by myself unless it's a really busy trail and we know it's going to be busy. I never used to even go by myself on busy trails because I was nervous, and I would not recommend anyone does, even though a lot of people do. There's so many things that can happen. But even if it's not a safety risk from other people, you can fall and then be alone. So I would say generally go with a friend or just go with a group or on a trail that is going to be busy regardless.
And do you feel that last year, that first year of trail running was a success?
I do. I think it taught me a lot about myself, and I think it really has changed my life and how my life is going to look going forward. I mean, I made so many new friends, some of whom have become like my closest friends through trail running, connected with different groups and different people. And it's honestly what I look forward to for the weekends, is actually getting out there, and I don't see that changing. So I would call that a success.
Yeah. And has it helped you kind of deal with challenges in your life, or has it taught you any lessons?
Yes. Definitely. I would say it's given me a different outlook on resilience and pushing through hard moments and just getting out of my head a little bit.
Yeah. And looking ahead, going into year 2, I suppose, particularly with kind of the injury at the end of last year, how does that feel different to kind of going into year 1?
Well, knowing what I know now and kind of having gone through it, I feel so much, I guess, I'm more ready to take on the challenges, and I am more aware of the consequences of not listening to your body or overdoing it or pushing through something. So my outlook is very different. I feel like I'm going into this year with a proper fitness base that I didn't have last year, which is really exciting because it's going to allow me to take on more. But I'm also aware that I'm still new to this, and that comes with its own challenges of not trying to keep up when you can't, because that can cause other problems.
Yeah. We touched on a little bit about getting the coach. I think it's quite a interesting debate at like what stage you kind of, I think for me it was always about still early in the game getting a coach just to help me. But some people, say, okay, do your first 20, 30 before you kind of get a coach. So what was the thinking going into that, and how's that kind of changed your running?
For me, it was, I think, crucial because I knew nothing about running, about programming a run and how often I should be doing them, the different types of runs to get better. So for me, it was really beneficial. My coach at the time, I'm kind of just doing my own thing at the moment, but he is someone that I work with. So we were already just speaking about it and hearing his advice. I just thought it would be easier for me and make the journey maybe a bit better if I was just to get on a program with him and follow his specific advice. And I think it was really helpful. I wouldn't have really known how much to do if I didn't have him. But also on the other hand, once I really fell in love with trail running, he was there to hold me back from overdoing it. So occasionally I'd be like, well, it's like the Saturday long run, all my friends are going out, can I go join them? And he was like, honestly, you'd be better off doing like 5 or 10 as opposed to like an 18 today. It's very counterproductive, and he had to hold me back with a few things. Sometimes I pushed through that and I didn't listen, and I also noticed the consequences of that. So it was a game changer for me.
Yeah. And how have you kind of learned about focusing on your own goals versus, as you've kind of said, getting caught up in that group run situation?
I suppose the injury, whenever I go too hard or try to do something I'm not quite capable of yet, that's when I roll my ankle because I'm trying to go too fast. That's when I overdo it and I burn out or I feel a niggle, and I just don't want that to be happening. I'd rather be going slower, occasionally joining my friends for a run, but focusing on myself and my own goals. And I know one day it will it will get to the point where I can just jump onto a 20-kilometer run on the mountain with my friends, but it's not like that right now.
And do you feel like a bit of a responsibility now, to help people get into trail running? Is there that kind of desire?
I've always quite enjoyed sharing my personal journey, like on social media, and I think naturally sharing the beginner journey into trail running, and seeing how people responded and were curious and interested. So yeah, I suppose a little bit, but it's in a good way.
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
And, you did mention at the beginning about the content creator side. You've obviously always kind of been, or at least in the last few years, how did that kind of then merge into your kind of trail running content? And did you kind of struggle with that learning to trail run as well as now trying to create content?
I did. I really did. It was a struggle for probably most of last year, because before I was running, my social media content was more gym and food based. Interestingly, it actually started out very foodie like.
Was it Ally Eats Food or something?
It was Fit Foodie, which I feel so cringe even saying. So yeah, it was a lot of food. It was a lot of gym workouts, and then started running and started trying to film all of my runs. And I think I also learned that I can't have my phone out and be filming every single second of a run, because that also definitely made me fall and roll my ankle a few times trying to have my phone out. And also it takes away from enjoying the run.
Mm-hmm.
And it's counterproductive because I'm focusing on filming as opposed to putting my effort into the running. So I struggled with that for a long time, feeling the pressure to film everything I was doing, to post it. I don't know why I felt that pressure. It's not like I have a big following, but for whatever reason, it was just part of my life that I was like filming my fitness side of life and posting it onto social media. And so that took a while. And I'd say only probably in the last few months have I accepted that I don't need to share everything and I don't have to film everything. And now it's become a little bit more focused on trail running, because that is a massive part of my life at this moment. But I've managed now to, I think, find the balance between the running and trail running side and then my work side, which is the strength and conditioning coaching.
And how have they kind of impacted negatively, positively on each other?
The strength and conditioning and the running?
Yeah.
Oh, I think there's a major positive impact because I'm able to strengthen my body for trail running in a way that I won't get injured. My injuries have only ever come from twisting an ankle and falling, which I am working on now in a stability sense for my ankles. But other common running injuries, I think I would be less likely to have because of the gym strength work I do. So I think they're very helpful for one another.
Yeah, you're definitely in a fortunate position because I think a lot of beginners do kind of struggle with that strength and conditioning. And do you kind of realize that you are in that position?
Yeah, for sure. That's what I like to help other people to do. So when I started out as a trainer, my focus was never on runners. It was just on the everyday person who wants to get stronger, get fitter, lose weight, live a healthier lifestyle. And now that focus has shifted. It still incorporates that, but a lot of it is also now working with runners and athletes to strengthen their bodies and create resilience for the sport they're doing, to prevent injuries, to rehab injuries, to make them more powerful and stronger and feel better when they run. Yeah,
it's amazing that you shift into that kind of space.
Yeah, it's been a good shift and I'm really enjoying it. Those are the clients I really, really look forward to. I mean, I look forward to all my clients, but I have a special passion for that at the moment.
Yeah, and we did touch a bit on nutrition. So what have you learned about nutrition and its importance over the last year?
Oh gosh, I think I've always been quite into nutrition. So I wouldn't say that I learned much over last year. I guess how to fuel a run properly and what works for me, but that's quite individual. Like I've never liked gels. I would go for bars more. Electrolytes have become, I guess, a bigger part of my like routine or essential or something I would take with me. But I was always in that mindset of fueling my body and eating a good balanced diet and focusing on protein for recovery. That was always a part of what I was doing before running anyway.
Yeah. What are the areas of nutrition that you're kind of working on?
I'm kind of just keeping everything the same because what I have done in the past has worked for me.
And, what's been the most like unexpected like joy that you found with trail running?
Probably the friends I've made through it and the communities and the people I've met and connected with. That would probably be the most unexpected joy, because as I built up my trail running over the first few months, I could see this was something I was going to fall in love with, but I didn't realize the connections that would come from it and the friends I would make.
Yeah. And what is the different feeling between kind of the training and the races? What is that kind of different feeling, and how do you kind of process both of them?
I mean, I love the training runs because you are able to, you push and obviously you're working hard, but you also have the chance to take it easy and rest and listen to your body. And then a race, you're giving it your all, I suppose. But there's all the excitement around that. And I would say I'm still at the point that the races I do are just for fun. Yeah. I'm not putting that much pressure on it. I don't mind if it takes me hours and hours to complete a 25. So I just go out there to have fun and enjoy it and try finish whatever I'm doing feeling strong.
And what's the most rewarding thing that kind of keeps you coming back every time?
I think seeing the small improvement. Obviously, you don't feel the improvements on every single run, but every now and then you realize how much you have improved. And I love Strava. I love how it shows me my improvements in that way, seeing how I can do the same run with a lower heart rate or slightly faster. And I think that keeps me going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think trail running is also like one of those things which is quite difficult to track improvements.
That's true.
So do you do the same routes, or how do you kind of track that? We just kind of a feeling.
There is a feeling. I mean, you can feel when you're managing something better, even if it's just running more comfortably over a technical section. I mean, that once upon a time you were basically having to walk it because it was so unstable on your feet, and now you're kind of trotting over and feeling okay. I think that's one way for me. Otherwise, doing the same route for sure and seeing that it's a bit faster or feeling a bit stronger. Even just powering up a hill in a power hiking sense as opposed to like slugging up and really feeling it. You feel like you can feel those improvements.
Yeah. And if you had to bump into that person at the beginning of the trail run yourself, what would you say now to that person?
To me, in my very first one, I would say it's going to be a process. It's going to take a long time until it feels good, but you have to keep pushing through because it's never going to get better if you give up. Yeah. So just keep going and it will be rewarding and you'll get there.
Love that. And have you kind of started working on, the sort of short, medium, long-term goals? Have you given that any thought?
I suppose my short-term goal or goals would be to just pick up my pace and be able to run a little bit faster on the road as well. And then long-term goals, I would like to continue building slowly so that one day I can maybe go and do some kind of ultra on the trails. I mean, that's really exciting for me to think of for the future, but that is like a really long-term goal. Like I'm talking like 5 years. So I guess then the medium goals would be to, get a little bit stronger at these 20 kilometers and eventually put a time goal on a race. I don't know if that would be this year, maybe next year, to try redo a race that I'd done this year or last year and do it faster and better. But just generally, I just want to keep getting better and stronger and be able to go out with the group and keep up. That's a short-term goal too.
Yeah. And what is the best thing about the Cape Town trail running community?
Everyone is so supportive and encouraging people. Even though I feel funny and sometimes embarrassed that I can't keep up, people don't make you feel bad about it. People are always encouraging, people are always cheering you on and just wanting you to get better. And I love that. I think that's really special.
Yeah. And what would you say to a beginner kind of going into their first group run? What's the advice you would give?
Just go and enjoy it. Just stick at a pace that you're comfortable with and take it all in. And it might be hard, but you'll finish feeling so good and just to do it.
Yeah. And at the beginning, I asked you about the socks. So what 2 words would you have at the back of your socks?
Well, I have a question for you. Are these words meant to be encouraging for the person running behind me, or can it be funny?
It can be anything you want it.
Well, if it was like related to me, I would put trail on the one sock and snail on the other sock. Just because I want to embrace it. I am a bit of a trail snail, and I used to be very uneasy about that and feel really shitty about that, but now I kind of just embrace it, and I don't mind telling someone that I'm not the fastest runner. But if I was to try and encourage someone, I would probably just say like, keep going, or catch me.
Catch me, I like that one. Yeah.
Because they probably will, but I mean, it's like, come on.
Yeah.
You can.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to having this chat in a year's time and with year 2 under your belt.
I'm excited too. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining me. Awesome. That was amazing. Thank you.
Thanks, Dean.